Please remember to subscribe and let me know where and when you are watching this before we start. These are true horror stories, not just bad dates. Get ready to hear true stories that may cause you to reconsider your next match and possibly remove your dating apps. I don't know if I should share this because even considering it now makes me anxious. But maybe by sharing it, I'll be able to get someone to see the red flags that I missed. A few years prior, I'd just gone through a rough breakup and considered online dating once more. I wasn't looking for anything serious, just someone to grab a coffee or a drink with, maybe some innocent companionship. I'd been swiping for around 2 weeks before I matched with a dude I'll refer to as Eric. He sounded normal, mid-30s, IT work, solid profile pictures, nothing crazy. We kept things short, polite, and to the point in our messages. I didn't quite get that instantaneous sense of him, but he was pleasant enough, so I agreed to see him at a small cafe I knew in the city. The first date was fine. He was courteous, soft-spoken, a little awkwardness, but nothing to be concerned about. We chatted about jobs, TV shows, holidays, the standard first date material. He didn't try to touch me or step into my space, which was reassuring. After about an hour, I said my goodbyes, thinking to myself, well, at least he's harmless. He messaged me the evening after thanking me and wanting a second date, which I agreed to, thinking maybe I'd give him a proper chance. The second date was when I started feeling something was wrong. We went out to a nice, dimly lit bar in downtown. As soon as I stepped inside, I noticed him sitting in the corner looking at the door. It's one of those stares that makes you immediately feel self-conscious, but I assumed it was just because he was nervous. The conversation was okay for a while, but then he began asking these incredibly specific questions. How many roommates I had, what floor my apartment was on, if there were security cameras in my building. I laughed nervously and joked, "Why? Planning a heist?" He did not laugh. He merely smiled faintly and said, "I like knowing these things. It makes me feel nearer to someone." My gut fell. There was something calculated in the manner that he spoke. As the evening progressed, he kept leaning in, and the questions became more controlling sounding and personal. "Have you ever dated someone who was controlling?" he asked. I was stunned. He didn't give me time to answer. Sometimes people need someone to make decisions for them. "It takes the stress off," he replied, as if it were a positive. I downed my drink quickly and made up some excuse for escaping from there. He insisted on walking with me to my car. I walked reluctantly. He didn't talk much on the way, but there was this relentless, steady stare that just used to make my skin crawl. When I was at my car, he hung around at the driver's side door, just staring at me with this slow, deliberate smile. I remember locking the doors the moment I sat down. That night, I got a message from him. "I feel like we're already connected. I want to take care of you." I didn't reply. The messages didn't stop. At first, they were harmless. Good mornings asking about my day. Then they started getting personal. "I drove by your street today. I think I saw your window. And you look really nice in that red sweater, by the way." I drew back. I had been wearing that same sweater when I returned. I never posted pictures outside my apartment or talked about my neighborhood. Suddenly, it hit me like a gut punch. He followed me home. I immediately blocked his number, but the fear stuck. A week later, I found a small creased piece of paper wedged beneath my windshield wiper. Written neatly on the outside was my name. On the inside, in neat, detailed script, it said, "You shouldn't ignore me. You'll see that I'm exactly what you need." I moved within 2 months. I changed routines, changed the path to work, and never told anyone what happened until today. Even to this day, I check my car doors and windows obsessively prior to entry, and any unexpected approach from strangers causes me to startle. The scariest part to me is how normal he was initially. How easy it was to dismiss the little small warning signs. I keep telling myself that if I knew what to watch out for now, it might halt it from happening again, but I still can't help but assume that it could have gone much worse. If you're listening to this, trust your instincts. Those little gut intuitions are probably right. And if someone starts questioning about where you live or what you do day to day, don't brush it off as harmless curiosity. It started like any Friday night did in my tiny apartment. Takeout containers stacked on the coffee table, the acrid smell of soy sauce and loneliness hanging in the air, and my thumb mindlessly swiping right on a dating app I'd already promised myself a dozen times to delete. I'd been on these apps for years. Hinge, Bumble, Tinder, and honestly, I didn't believe in any of it anymore. The initial thrill of a match, the polite exchanges, the vanishing act that happens inevitably. It went in circles. I wasn't even so much looking for love. Just connection. A smile not from a computer screen. Eye contact not reflected back in a mirror in the bathroom. Then I matched with Maya. Her profile was sparse. 3 photos and 1 sentence. I like quiet places and thunderstorms. No filters. No gym selfies. No hackneyed travel sayings. Her smile was subtle, on the verge of reluctance. Dark curls falling over one eye in the second. Under a street lamp in the third. Rain blurs streaking on the glass. Something melancholy about her, but in a way that made me freeze half-swipe. We started to talk slowly. To begin with, no flood of questions, no "hey beautiful," just words. Real words. She told me that she was a sound engineer on independent films, hated small talk, loved old jazz records, and had very little time for liars. I told her that I was a graphic designer who wasted too much time spacing out on rooftop decks after midnight. We bonded over our shared distaste for pumpkin spice lattes. She had called them urban betrayal in a cup, and our inexplicable obsession with finding the perfect grilled cheese. We texted every day for 2 weeks. Not constantly, but with purpose. She had this ability to pose questions in such a way that gave me a chance to respond more truthfully than I normally would. One time, out of the blue, she asked, "Do you ever think your memories don't belong to you?" I sat at my phone for 5 minutes, shaking my head, not sure how she knew about the dream I'd had the previous night, the one where I was standing on a railroad platform that was exactly like the one I used to remember when I was a kid, only the humans didn't have any faces. I joked with her that she was a witch. She told me, only on nights with a declining moon. We flirted, but it wasn't smarmy or frantic. It was delicate, like we were both too afraid of smashing something. And then 10 days afterward, she stated, "What if we met somewhere quiet, somewhere no one else goes?" I hesitated. Not out of fear, though perhaps I should have, because I did not want to ruin it. What if she didn't look like her pictures? What if the chemistry went away the moment we'd said hi in person? But she went on. "I promise I won't bite, unless you ask nicely." I laughed. I consented. She picked the spot. Vernon Point. A crumbling, worn-out promenade along the river's east bank. Once a public park, now gated since a landslide destroyed part of the bluff. Weedy, rusty chain-link fencing, broken lampposts. Her message read, "It's quiet, no noise but the water and the wind. At 9, I'll be by the last lamppost." I checked on Google Maps. The satellite photo showed cracked road bending into scrub, ending near the cliff top. No review pins, no nearby businesses, just a gray space of desolation. I sent her. "This is quite creepy," she replied straight away. "Good. Then we'll be alone." I should have stopped there. I see that now. But I didn't. I came in my old Honda, the city lights falling behind me as I made the turn onto the potholed black access road. Trees crouched in like witnesses. Radio signal dead at the entrance gate, which creaked open like a jaw. I passed by a no trespassing sign, its letters rubbed and half peeled. It was 8:50 p.m. Stagnant air clung to the odor of wet earth and river rot. There was only moonlight, half obscured by clouds. I stopped on the verge of the split path and proceeded, my feet grinding on gravel. 8 lampposts in line, 7 unlit. The 8th, the final one, was a weak flicker, humming like an insect about to die. Under it, nothing. Maya. My call was swallowed, echoed too quickly by the trees. I paused, looked at my phone, no reception. 902, and a shadow stirred. Not from the lamppost, but from behind a clump of bushes to the left. 2 figures emerged, but not her. They were guys. Tall, broad-shouldered guys, both wearing dark hoodies pulled down. One had something metallic and low at his hip. My gut dropped. "Hey," I said, trying to sound casual. "See a woman? Long dark hair. Was supposed to meet her here." The larger of the two stopped a dozen feet away. "Yeah," he said, voice flat. "She's not coming." "What do you mean?" "She sent us." "Why?" "To collect," the other one said, moving forward. That was when I saw the gun. Small, black, against my chest. "Collect what?" I mouthed. "Your wallet, phone, watch, anything worth taking." I froze where I was. My head was spinning. Was this a hoax? A joke? Where was Maya? The first man pulled out a knife. Now, hands up. I reached for pockets. My hands trembled as I pulled out wallet and phone. Tucking them into the backpack, the second man shoved my way. "Anything else?" the gun hand asked. "No," I stuttered. "That's it. That's everything." They searched me anyway, bruising my ribs with hard slaps. The tall one ripped off my jacket, teared out the tag, and laughed. "Good. She'll like this." I asked, "Who is she?" Then the second guy grinned, a twisted, crooked grin. "You didn't actually believe she was real, did you?" "What? Catfishing 101, bro," said the guy. "Girl profile. Lonely guy. Bait to a dead zone. Cash and credit. We've done this more times than I can count." My breathing snagged. "So, there's no Maya?" "Nah," said the first guy. "But she would have liked you. You're the perfect type. Quiet, sensitive, desperate." They started to back away. "Wait," I cried. "Why turn on the lamppost?" The second man paused, smiled more widely. "Because she told you that you would come for the light, and she was right." Then they vanished into darkness. I stood there shaking, hands out, throat dry. Wind picked up. Somewhere in the distance, water thrashed against rock. My legs at last gave way, and I ran past the broken fencing, down the broken sidewalk until my car appeared. I had the door slammed on me before my heart was racing the way it ached. I drove without looking back, headlights illuminating the potholes in the road, trees looming in tight like they were attempting to corner me there. When I did get home, I locked all the windows, all the doors, and remained in the dark until morning. My phone was gone. My wallet was gone. But what really continued to haunt my brain wasn't the theft, it was the fact that Maya never actually existed. Just a trap profile, a lure, a trick I should have known better than to fall for. I never touched a dating app again. All the profile pictures started to look like masks. All the bios read like bait dangled off a hook, even when friends cautioned me, "Just be careful, or use a different app." The thought of swiping tightened my chest, because it wasn't just about getting stolen from. It was about how easy it had been to lure me in. A few strategically placed words. And suddenly I was walking alone into the night, thinking I'd found attachment, when what I'd really found was a trap. So I erased it all the apps, all the accounts. I couldn't even scroll past an ad without feeling that sick pit in my gut. And I knew the truth deep down. It wasn't that I didn't believe in love online anymore. Was definitely in my hookup phase at a time. 21, newly out of college, figuring out life one awkward encounter at a time. Tinder was my main source of distraction. I wasn't expecting much from it. Just casual fun, maybe a laugh or two. That's how I matched with this guy. He seemed normal enough online, funny, a few clever jokes in his bio, pictures that looked like he wasn't trying too hard. We decided to meet at a popular bar in our college town. It was bingo night, and the place was packed with college students, cheap drinks, and the occasional screaming group celebrating someone winning a stuffed animal. At first, it was fine. We played a few rounds of bingo, shared a couple of beers, and I actually started to enjoy his company. He laughed at my terrible luck at the game, I laughed at his, and for a moment it felt like any other normal Friday night. By the end of the night, I thought maybe he could come back to my place. I figured, whatever, it's just casual. I didn't expect what would happen next. Once we got back, things quickly became awkward. He wasn't aggressive or violent, at least not in the traditional sense. But he completely ignored every hint I tried to give that the night was over. I tried subtle things at first, like getting up and saying I needed water, or moving toward my bedroom. He followed. I laughed nervously, hoping he'd pick up on it. He didn't. By mid-morning, it became clear that he had no intention of leaving on his own. I tried asking politely, then a bit more firmly, "Hey, I think you should go now." He just chuckled like I was joking. My anxiety started spiking. I didn't want confrontation, but I also didn't want him lingering in my apartment like some entitled guest who assumed I had no boundaries. That's when my roommates got involved. One of my closest friends was making pancakes in the kitchen. She took one look at the situation, rolled her eyes, grabbed all the ugly, lopsided pancakes, and started hurling them at him. "You need to leave, now," she yelled. The sound of cold pancake hitting his chest finally got his attention. I think the sheer absurdity of it being pelted with breakfast food shocked him enough to realize I was serious. He left, looking confused and slightly humiliated. I was left sitting on my couch, still shaking, wondering how someone could be so oblivious to social cues. 2 months later, after I had mostly laughed it off, and warned my friends that the bar would always be the pancake incident bar in my memory, I was back on Tinder. I was mostly scrolling aimlessly, expecting awkward encounters, maybe another guy who didn't understand boundaries. That's when I matched with my partner. At first, I didn't think much of it. His profile was simple, unassuming, nothing flashy, nothing over the top. We arranged to meet for coffee at a small cafe downtown. From the first moment, it was different. He was on time, polite, and actually listened when I spoke. There were no awkward silences or weird, overeager gestures. He asked about my day, my interests, and genuinely seemed to want to hear the answers. Our conversation flowed easily. We talked for hours, laughing over small things, sharing stories about our lives, discovering similarities in music tastes, movies, and even our weird little habits. Unlike the first guy, he respected my space and my boundaries. When the cafe closed, I didn't feel anxious or cornered. I felt comfortable, actually happy. That's it for tonight's stories. I really hope you enjoyed them, and maybe even got a little chill or two along the way. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and lets me keep bringing you more. I'd also love to know which story stood out to you the most. So drop a comment and share your thoughts. I always enjoy reading them. Thanks again for spending your time here with me. Stay safe, sleep well, and I'll see you in the next one.